Hi guys, this is Vineet and I welcome you to this video. Today's video topic is complete database restores, and this restores will be on a full recovery model. In our earlier video we had shown you how you can do complete database restores with a simple recovery model in SQL Server. So let me take you to notes quickly. This will be a mix of theoretical session and the practical session. So we will cover one of the demos here at the bottom. So stay in tune, keep listening to the theory, and eventually we will reach the demo point where I will show you how you can do backup and restore under the full recovery model. So let's start with the theory part. So in a complete database restore, the goal is to restore the whole database, and that's common for both the simple and full recovery model. So for complete database restore, the goal is to do a restore of whole database, and whole database is offline during the restoration process. Now, before any part of the database can come online, all data should be recovered to a consistent point. And what is this consistent point? In which all parts of the database are at the same point in time and no uncommitted transaction exists. So there should be no uncommitted transactions and all parts should be at the same point. So your database should be in consistent state before you can bring it online. Now under the full recovery model, after you restore the data backup or backups, you must restore all subsequent transaction log backups as well. So in the full recovery model, we also take additionally the transaction log backups as well. That can be restored after we restore the full backup or differential backup. After that, you can restore any transaction log backups. And so after restoring all the subsequent transaction log backups, you can recover the database. You can restore a database to a specific recovery point with one of these log backups, which is also known as point in time restore. Now the recovery point can be a specific date and time, a marked transaction, or a specific log sequence number. So that is the feature of the point in time restore. You can restore your system or database to a specific date and time. You can restore it to a marked transaction, or you can restore it to a log sequence number. Let's move ahead. Now, when restoring a database, particularly under the full recovery model or a bulk log recovery model, you should use a single restore sequence. Now, what is a restore sequence? A restore sequence consists of one or more restore operations that move data through one or more phases of the restore. Now, let me warn you regarding the untrusted sources of your database backup. So, recommendation from our end is to not attach or restore databases from unknown or untrusted sources, as these databases could contain malicious code and might execute unintended T-SQL code that can cause error by modifying the schema or the physical database structure. So you should be very careful by using the database backups from external resources. So take precautions while attaching or restoring such databases or database backups. Now, what we would recommend regarding the backups from the untrusted sources is that you should use database from an unknown or untrusted source. If you want to use that database still or database backup, we would recommend running a dbcc checkdb on that particular database on a non-production server first before you can restore it to a production server or attach it to a production server. Take the database backup or a database to a non-production server, then run the dbcc checkdb command to check that particular database. And you should also examine any user written code in the database, such as the code in the stored procedures or any other user defined code, maybe in functions in the database. So these can be stored procedure or other defined user code, one and the same thing. Now let's talk about restoring a database to the point of failure or point in time. Now typically recovering a database to a point of failure involves the following basic steps. If we have to restore a database to a specific point in time, it will involve the following basic steps. So basically, we will first of all, before doing a restore, we need to take the backup of the active transaction log, which is also known as the tail of the log. All right. And this basically creates a tail log backup. And if the active transaction log is unavailable, all transaction in that part of the log are lost. So in case you have active transaction log available, you can take a backup of that, which is also known as the tail log backup, right? And under the bulk log recovery model, backing up any log that contains the bulk logged operations requires access to all the data files in the database. Now, if the data files cannot be accessed, the transaction log cannot be backed up. So you cannot do transaction log in a bulk log recovery model if all of the files or data files cannot be accessed at that time. You cannot back up the transaction log. In that case, you need to manually redo all the changes that were made since the most recent log backup. Now, second step is to these are the steps for restoring a database to a point of failure. So first we back up the active transaction log. Then we restore the most recent full database backup without recovering the database. So first is you will restore the full database backup that you had taken earlier. You can restore that full database backup without recovering the database, which means you will use the with no recovery option. After you restore the full database backup, you will restore any differential backup, latest differential backup if it exists. We should restore the most recent one without recovering the database. So again, we will use the with no recovery option while doing the differential backup. And restoring the most recent differential backup reduces the number of log backups that must be restored. So once you restore this latest differential backup, you need to only restore the transaction log backups that are taken after this differential backup. Now the fourth point is that starting with the first transaction log backup. So at this point, we will restore any transaction log backups we have taken in the sequence. So we will start with the first transaction log backup that was created after the backup you just restored, which is a differential log backup. So after that, we will restore the first transaction log backup, and we will restore any further transaction log backups in sequence. And we will restore the transaction log backups in sequence. That is what I've mentioned. And we will still use the no recovery option while restoring these transaction log backups. Now, finally, in the fifth step, we recover the database with the recovery. And alternatively, this step can be combined with the restoring the last log backup. So we can use with recovery option while restoring the last log backup, or else we can use this option separately as well, where we can just recover the database after restoring the log backup. Now, let me take you through pictorial illustration which shows the restore sequence. So after a failure occurs, which is first point mentioned over here, indicated by 1. So here we have circles. So the first point indicate the failure occurs, and at this point we need to take a tail log backup. A tail log backup is created, which is indicated by point 2. So this is point 2 where the tail log backup is created. All right, and this tail log backup is T10 taken at time T10. We create a tail log backup, right? Next, the database is restored to a point of the failure. This involves restoring a database backup, a sequence differential backup, and a every log backup taken after the differential backup, including the tail log backup. So in case the failures occur at this point, we will take the tail log backup. We will create a tail log backup, and finally we will recover the database to the point of failure. So this requires restoring first the full database backup. So at this point, at point T0, the database was created. At T1, we had taken the full database backup. Then we started taking the differential database backups. Finally, we have the latest differential database backup at T6. So we will restore this as well. Before that, we will restore the full database backup. Then we restore the differential database backup. After that, we have taken several transaction log backup at T7, T8, T9, and T10. We will restore all of these transaction log backups, including the one. The last one will be a tail log backup, which we will restore. This box indicates the tail log backup, and these ones indicate restored backups, and a recovery path is showing with the orange boxes. This should be our recovery path. First full database backup, then the differential database backup restored, then we will restore any transaction log backups, and lastly we will restore the tail log backup that was created. Now let me take you through the basic T-SQL Restore Syntax. So the basic restore T-SQL syntax for the restore sequence in the preceding illustration is as follows. So first we will restore database. We will provide the database name, and from full database backup we will first restore the database, and we will do this with no recovery. Then we will restore any full differential backup, and this also will be done with no recovery. Then at the next point we will restore the log database from the log backup, right, with no recovery. And we will repeat this restore log step for each additional log backup. So we will restore all the transaction log backup taken. Finally, we will do restore database name with recovery to finally recover the database fully. Now let me take you through a demo where we are restoring the database to a point of failure. We will create a full database backup, create a transaction log backup, create a tail log backup of the database. Then we will restore the full database backup and a log backup, and then restore the tail log backup. And we will finally recover the database completely in a separate final step. So let me take you through the SQL code. So let's go to SQL Server. You can write code along with me. So I will be taking the AdventureWorks 2022 database. So yesterday as well, while recording the earlier videos, we had taken the backups. So if I open up my folder and let me take you to the database backup folder. So it should be in the C drive. It should be in the program files. Microsoft SQL Server is the folder name. Under that we have MS SQL 16, MS SQL Server. Under that we have MS SQL folder. Under that we have a backup folder. So SQL Server uses this location basically to take any backups by default. So earlier we had taken this backup yesterday, which is the backup of AdventureWorks 22 database, and this contains the full database backup as well as the differential backup. But today let's create a new file altogether with a new date. Okay guys, so let's start writing code over here. So first of all, let's check the recovery model of the database, because we need to take the transaction log backup. So your recovery model should be full. So let's go to the options section and mark the database under the full recovery model. All right, so it's now in the full recovery model. At this point, let's use the master database, right? Let's take the full database backup to a file. So use the backup database statement, backup database. So what we are doing here is we are taking a, let's do backup the full AdventureWorks 2022 database. So in order to do that, you need to issue the backup database statement, backup database, name of the database, which is AdventureWorks 2022. And you are taking it to the disk, and you need to specify the backup path, which is this. This is the default path for the SQL Server backups. You can copy this path out. And after the path, you can specify the name of the file. We are starting our name of the file with the keyword backup. So let's put backup over here as the file name. And after backup, we can put underscore, and you can put the name of the database, which is AdventureWorks 2022, and put an underscore with the today's date. 2025 is the today's date, and 7th month, and the 10th is the date, and put dot back as the backup file extension. So we are taking the full database backup to a disk, and we can use the with format option in case this particular file already exists. But in our case, this file does not exist. But yeah, still, if you want to format the media or the disk file, you can use this option with format. And let's use the go statement to complete this batch, right? And after use master, you can also specify go to create it as a separate batch. Now, this is the full database backup, and this will be a backup set one. Let's use the same file to create a differential database backup. Create a differential database backup. All right. Create a differential database backup here. So you can use the copy out the same statements over here. And this time you don't need to use the format because it will erase the backup set first. So remove this statement and take the differential backup. What you need to specify is with differential option so that it takes the differential backup. Just specify this keyword with differential and remove the with format option so that it should not format the media again. So at this point, this is the third batch of statement where you will create the differential backup. Now let's execute these statements so that our backups will be created. All right. So I have executed both the statements and let's see if you can get our backups in a file. So statements are executing. All right. So both the backups are done, the full and the differential. And let's check out the folder. This is the file that contains the full and differential backup. So one is in backup set 1 and another one is in the backup set 2. Now, at this point, let's assume a failure occurs at this point. So give me a minute. So let's assume if our failure occur at this point in time, right? If our database fails at this point, let's mention that. If our database fails at this time, and that's an assumption right now because database has not failed right now. But let's assume that it has failed at this point. So our next step would be to take a tail log backup. So let's create a tail log backup. So whenever your database fails, you create a tail log backup at that time. We had not taken any transaction log backups before, but right now we are creating a tail log backup. So which can be done by backup log statement and specify the database name, and apart from that you can specify the same file, and this will be a backup set 3. You can utilize the same file to store the tail log backup, and this will be stored in the backup set 3. And at this point what you need to do, you need to use the keyword with no recovery, right, and put go over here. All right, so this is one batch of code, and after that what we will do, we will restore the full database backup. So once you take the tail log backup with this command, what you will do as next step, you will restore the full database backup from backup set 1. All right, so in order to restore the database full database backup, you need to use the restore database statement and name of the database, which is AdventureWorks, and you need to use the from disk option over here because we are restoring it from the disk file. We can specify the name of the same file where we had taken the backup earlier. So let's put that in. This is the file from where we will restore the database or full database backup, and we need to specify with file1 to indicate that full database backup is in the backup set 1, and here we will also specify with no recovery option. All right, and you need to put comma after file equals 1 and after specifying the no recovery option. So this is to restore the full database backup. Now let's restore the differential database backup that we have. So that is in the backup set 2. So restore the differential backup from backup set 2. Let's do that. So you can use the same statements, but what you need to do is you need to specify the file equal to 2 over here to indicate the differential backup, because the differential backup was taken in the backup set 2. So we are indicating to use the backup set 2 to restore the differential backup. Now finally, let's restore the tail log backup that we had taken at this step. All right, we had not taken it yet, but we will take it. We need to execute our statements from this point onwards. So it will create a tail log backup. This will be file number 3 once the backup is taken. It is not taken yet, but once it will be taken, it will come under backup set 3. So let's restore the tail log backup because we do not have any other transaction log files in which we have taken the backup. So restore the tail log backup at this point. from the backup set 3. It will be inside backup set 3. So you need to use the same statements, not exactly. Need to, here we are restoring the log file. So you need to use the restore log statement. Rest of the things will be fine. And you need to change the file number, which is 3. Backup set 3 contains the tail log backup. Now run the statements from here, select the statements from backing up the tail log file till restoring it. And finally, I've not selected it yet. So let's recover the database after this tail log backup is restored. So what we will do, we will put go over here. Let's put go over here and let's recover the database at this point. Because we have used the no recovery option over here while restoring the tail log backup, so your database will not get restored. So we are restoring it in a separate statement. So in order to restore the database or recover the database, you need to use the restore database statement and specify the name of the database, which is AdventureWorks 2022, and you need to specify the with recovery option. So this will restore your database. Put go statement over here. Now we need to run the statements from here, starting from taking the tail log backup, restoring the full database backup from backup set 1, and restoring the differential database backup from backup set 2, finally restoring the tail of log backup from backup set 3, and finally recovering the database. Now let's execute this statement, and this should execute fine. So I've execute all of these statements in a single go. All right, so all of this is done and our database is restored. Both we have restored the full database backup, the differential database backup, and the tail log backup. And finally, we have recovered the database. So our database is in recovered state right now. All right, we can refresh the databases section to see it is finally available to us, right? We can expand it, we can view tables, so it is available, right? All right, so let me move ahead. This demo is done, and this demo is done. And let's discuss some theory part over here. So let's discuss on restoring a database to a point within a log backup. So let's talk about that. So regarding the practical of this theory part, which I'm covering right now, you can watch out my different video, which is available on my channel. And you can go to my channel and search for the video. The video title should be Restore a SQL Server Database to a Point in Time. Under the full recovery model, you can check out that practical. Here we will be discussing it theoretically. So here we are talking about restoring a database to a particular point in time with the log backup. Under the full recovery model, a complete database restore can usually be recovered to a point of time. So if we are using the full recovery model, you can use the complete database restore, and using this restore, you can recover your database to a particular point in time, or to a marked transaction, or to a LSN within a log backup. However, under the bulk log recovery model, if the log backup contains bulk log changes, point in time recovery is not possible in these scenarios if you are using the bulk log model and if your log backup contains the bulk log changes. Let me take you through a sample point in time restore scenarios. And the following example assumes a mission critical database system for which a full database backup is created daily at midnight, which is at 12 o'clock. And a differential backup is created every hour, Monday through Saturday. All right. So full database backup is created every night and midnight, right? Differential database backup is only available Monday through Saturday, and it is created every hour. And the transactional backups are created every 10 minutes, all right, throughout the day. So every 10 minutes, we are creating, our system is creating the transaction log backups. This is the hypothetical scenario where you have maintenance plans to take these backups, and these backups are being performed in your environment on a daily basis. And to restore the database to a state it was in at 5:19 a.m. at Wednesday, what you can do, you need to follow the sequence of steps. So as you are taking full database backup on a daily basis and you want to restore it to this point, which is 5:19 a.m. Wednesday, you will restore a full database backup that was created Tuesday at midnight, which is 12 o'clock, right? So let me mention that as 1200 hours, or maybe we can specify 00 hours. So this is time we have taken the backup. so we can restore this full database backup which was taken at 00 hours or midnight. And then we can restore any differential backup because we are taking differential backups on an hourly basis. We can restore the differential backup taken at 5 o'clock. So we can restore any differential backup that was created at 5 a.m. on Wednesday. All right. So Wednesday is the day, and 5 hours we can, as the differential backups are hourly, we can restore the differential backup that was taken at 5 a.m. on Wednesday. And after that, as the transaction logs are being taken every 10 minutes, so we can restore one of the transaction log at that was taken at 5:10 a.m. So after these two restore, we will restore a transaction log backup that was created at 5:10 a.m. on Wednesday. Now apply the transaction log backup that was created at 5:20 a.m. on Wednesday. So after you restore this transaction log backup, so the next transaction log backup will be at 5:20 a.m. that we had, because we are taking the transaction log backups every 10 minutes. So if you restore a transaction log backup of 5:10 a.m., the next transaction log backup available to you is of 5:20 a.m. And while applying the transaction log backup that was created at 5:20 a.m. on Wednesday, we can specify the recovery process applies only to transactions that occurred before 5:19 a.m. All right. So there's also another scenario. So this was the first scenario where we were taking the full database backup on daily basis and differential database backups on hourly basis, and every 10 minutes we were taking the transaction log backups. So now let's discuss one more scenario. If the database need so scenario is same, we are taking database backups at same time, but the restoration time we are not taking as 5:19 a.m. Wednesday, but instead if you want to restore it uh, to 3-4 a.m. on Thursday, what we need to do. And there's another scenario. We had taken the differential backup at 3. That database backup is lost in this scenario. So we don't have differential backup taken at 3, but we have a full database backup that is taken at midnight, which is 00 hours. So what we will do, we will restore the full database backup. Let me mention that full database backup that was created at midnight. We will restore that. That is 00 hours. We will restore that database, full database backup. And after that, as we don't have 3 a.m. differential backup, we need to restore the differential backup of 2 a.m. So we will restore the differential backup that was created at 2 a.m. And after 2 a.m. we have transaction log backups that were taken every 10 minutes. So we will apply all the transaction log backups that were created from 2:10 a.m. till 3 a.m. All right, on Thursday. So 2:10 a.m. till 3 a.m. on Thursday, we will apply all the transaction log backups. And finally, while applying the 3:10 a.m. transaction log backup on Thursday, we can stop the recovery process at 3-4 a.m. All right, to restore the database to a particular point in time, which is 3-4 a.m. on Thursday. So guys, I hope you like this video. If you really like this video, please click on the like button. Today we have discussed about doing the complete database restores under the full recovery model. We have shown you practically how to do such restores, where you will take a tail log backup, restore the full database backup, differential backup, any log backups, and finally the tail log backup, and finally you will recover the database after that. We have shown you this practically. And finally we have discussed about some of the scenarios where you restore a database to a particular point in time. We have discussed 2 scenarios over here. So I hope you like these 2 scenarios. I think we are done here. So please hit on the like button if you really like this video, and let me take you back to slides. So I hope you have liked this video by now. And guys, if you are new to this channel, or if you are watching this video for the first time, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button coming below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future and upcoming videos. So let me give you 5 seconds. Please go ahead and subscribe. So guys, I hope you must have subscribed by now. If yes, then wonderful. Now let me move ahead. So you can send an email out to me in case you need help with various items that are mentioned on the right hand side. You can send an email to me. So in case you need the copy of notes, for which I charge a nominal fee, in case you need the copy of notes, you can send me an email. I will send you the link where you can download notes by paying a nominal fee. And if you want to schedule one-to-one calls, 30 minutes or 1 hour, you can send me an email. And in case you need SQL Server Coaching, individual or group, let me know about that over the email, and I will get in touch with you. And or else, if you need a coaching on any particular SQL topic, you can also let me know along with the SQL topic name. And in case you're doing some projects and need an analysis of Transact-SQL code, I can do that as well. So you need to send me an email regarding that. And you can collaborate for any content creation, brand promotion on YouTube. You can contact me regarding that as well over my email address. And that's it, guys. I thank you so much for your time on this video today, and you have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.